Hey, best friends. I'm Claire.
I'm Yana.
Welcome to
Hi, Best Friends Book Club.
If you're new here, we read a handful of pages each week, and then we meet to chat and discuss and laugh and make jokes and tell you all about them in case you didn't have a chance to read the book this week. Or if you did read with us, we're here to chat about it. So we are still reading.
I know it's been 84 years, but we are still reading Bright Young Women by Jessica Knoll.
And it is a riveting tale.
But don't worry, we're almost done.
So we're going to recap where we left off last time, and then Yana is going to summarize what happened in these 50 pages that we read for this week. And she did a great job of taking notes.
Good luck, everyone.
Reading comprehension at its maximum.
We're all trying our hardest in
doing
this
great.
life. Thank
Yeah.
you.
You're great.
Memory's kind of going too.
So, just to help ground us,
It's for me too.
to help Yana remember, in the last 50 pages, what happened with our main characters, Ruth was caught in a sexual situation with her best friend, Rebecca. Her parents sent her to a psychiatric facility, which eventually led to her marrying CJ, who is now her ex-husband. In the present, Ruth is happily living with Tina, and she's growing into her true self. We see a lot of self-confidence from Ruth, alas.
Freaking finally.
She tells her mom she will not be attending her dad's memorial service, and she's finally setting some boundaries with Shirley, her mother.
Who's Shirley a bitch?
Shirley a bitch. Jumping over to Pamela, in the time when the sorority was recently attacked, she visits her parents in New York City, and she learns that she was abducted as a child. Sorry, it was just very random. This explains her rocky relationship with her mom, and then after lunch with her dad, Bill, who's a successful lawyer, and her boyfriend, Brian, who we've all decided, yes, I'm speaking for all of us, that we don't like him. She decides she's finally going to go to Columbia. She's going to depose the defendant, and she's going to break up with Brian, which is just a great relief for all of us, I think. So, yeah.
Bye.
In our most present timeline, Pamela is happily married. She's prepping to face the defendant in court yet again. Carl, the reporter for the Tallahassee, that's right, Democrat.
She can finally say
She can
it now that
finally
we're almost
say
done
it.
with the book.
You don't know how many times I deleted the wrong one. That's right. Carl, he has sided with the defendant. He's buried the information and the story of the cover-up he came to learn about in Seattle. And unfortunately, he now has severe dementia. And Pamela has been asked to visit him in hospital to see if she can help recover those memories.
Typical man.
That's right. Just always forgetting
Always
stuff.
forgetting stuff.
So, we'll get into what happened this week with Yana's magnificent notes.
You guys are all so lucky to have me because I am an excellent note taker and I have the memory of an elephant. So these last 50-ish pages really go back and forth between people and time, and honestly, I don't really think it was necessary to break it up into this many chapters. We really could have kept like one section Pam, one section Ruth. But we start off back in time with the deposition. Pamela is getting support from her dad. It's nice to see they have like a nice little relationship all of a sudden. We also learn in that chapter that Carl did leak information to the defense. So then we get to present day Pamela. She wakes up with Dr. Donnelly treating her after Carl attacked her. But they do also kind of throw in a little info, which is that Ruth has not yet been legally declared dead, and it's been almost 50 years later. We do get into that a little bit further. Stay tuned. As predicted, we go back in time again to Ruth. She and Tina get into a fight because Ruth has decided she actually does want to attend her dad's garden memorial ceremony. And Ruth decided she's going and is not joining Tina at the beach.
I think it's important to say Lake Sammamish because,
Yes, we know that a murder happens at Lake Sammamish. Double murder. But we don't know much about Lake Sammamish because we are definitely not from around here.
Nope, don't know anything about that.
Do not look us up.
Everyone's like, I won't.
We have nothing that you want.
We don't.
Emotionally, physically, anything.
We might make you laugh, though, over drinks.
But, like, if you pay for them.
That'd be great.
We are very poor. We get a lot of money from different places. That's why you guys get so many commercials. Anyway.
Speaking of which, are you signed up? Just kidding.
for words.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So Ruth and Tina split up. And now we're back in time again, dear Lord, with Pamela, who is at the trial of the defendant, and she's learning some very specific details, but she doesn't get to testify at this time. She gets some kind of like weird phone calls putting off her testification.
She's supposed to, though.
She's
surprised because she's the key witness who's the only one who saw him.
But as she's on her way back to the hotel room, she runs into that bitch, Shirley, who, as you all remember, is Ruth's mother. Back in time again to friggin' Ruth. She's at her father's ceremony, and she very quickly realizes that Tina was right. We do get some juicy detail right here, where we learn that Ruth's father died in a car accident after having a heart attack, and this was after the fight that she and her parents had after Ruth left CJ, and she left him after telling him she was gay, and so was her father. Boom, boom, boom.
I feel like they keep bringing up this, and it's like, and Dad's gay too. Yeah. But then nothing ever comes of it, and probably won't.
Maybe we'll get there. But
okay, whatever.
They get in this fight. He dies.
Don't care.
It's really sad. Who cares?
Bright young women.
Then she leaves and heads back to Tina. Once again, back to Pamela. We learn that the reason she's unable to testify, briefly, is because of a statement that Ruth's mom, fucking Shirley, made.
Fucking Shirley.
Fucking Shirley, bitch. And because also of Pamela's relationship with Tina, because nobody trusts her. Anyway, Shirley, that asshole, believes that Ruth actually ran away because she had psychological troubles. And she believes that Tina took advantage of her. And Tina accuses Shirley of not even trying to look for her freaking daughter. And that's why her body hasn't been found.
Because the other moms of the victims of the defendant, they were like on the news, just like a loving parent would, be
Shirley's
shouting.
Whole thing is like, well, obviously she ran away. Otherwise they would have found her body. They found all those other girls' bodies.
Right.
And then Tina's like, bitch, they found them because people were looking for them. You told the police not to look for them.
Right. She's like, she's not one of his victims.
Honestly, Shirley sucks.
Shirley's surely a bitch. I have a prediction about where Ruth's body is based on what I know about the defendant, but we'll get into that into discussion. I know you really want to know, listeners, so hang in there.
Well, now we're present day Pamela, and she is trying to talk to Carl again, where she finds out he had talked to Shirley, who, like we said, didn't believe Ruth was one of the victims, which we can all agree is just a big pile of shit.
Yeah, she's definitely a victim.
But he shares this information with the defendant and immediately put on his visitation list, and that's how he ends up forming a friendship with the defendant. We don't really get the full story, but it does help us learn that maybe Carl does know where Ruth's body is. And he says, quote, "If I tell you where to find it, can you get her to leave me alone?" And by her, he means Pamela, who says she won't bother you anymore. And this moment ends with, quote, "Tina told him to go to hell. All these years later, that's exactly where he is."
In his mind of hell, his dementia
Honestly,
mind.
all of our minds are hell. So we are all with Carl.
Oh my gosh, that was dark.
Happy 2025, baby. We're almost done, listener. We're back in time again with Pamela. She's finally able to take the stand. But the judge speaks to her like she's nobody, but like the defendant is so many of somebody's. And the judge almost feels like the defendant is like their equal. It's really rude.
I watched the defendant tapes. Listener, put it together, right? I'm not going to say it.
2 and 2. We can't do everything for you, listener.
There is a part in there with the judge and him that I did want to talk about in discussion points.
Interesting. I did not rewatch those yet, but I will rewatch the defendant tapes soon. But we finish off this by also finding out that Denise and Roger had their last breakup due to the fact that Roger drunk kissed Pamela.
Yeah, I don't know why everyone is kissing Roger. It's weird.
Roger sounds like he sucks.
He must be really hot.
Is he, though?
I mean, not as a human, but physically appearing, perhaps.
Not as a human, though.
Not inside of his core.
Inside physically
his soul
appearing.
is broken. But, listener, we did want to correct. In a couple episodes ago, we thought it was Denise that was attacked by Roger, where he, held her head down in his lap. And we also thought it wasn't sexual. We were wrong on both accounts. It wasn't Denise. It was Bernadette who had that experience with Roger. And it was sexual in nature. So I guess...
You guys, we're very new to this.
I guess we just don't know how to read.
And only one out of the two of us has good reading comprehension.
You know what, though? Like I said in the last episode, the scene with the sexual experience between Ruth and Rebecca, I was really...
Who's Rebecca?
Are you joking?
No, who's Rebecca?
Rebecca, her old best friend.
Oh,
right?
the one
Her
she's
brother.
actually a lesbian with.
She was. That's where her dad caught them together.
Yes,
remember?
her sister-in-law.
She married her brother.
Oh,
yeah.
Rebecca.
It's Rebecca. Anyway, it doesn't even matter anymore.
I said only one of the two of us has reading comprehension.
Oh my god. I was confused during that sexual scene.
Too.
Remember? I was like, is this sexual or is this just girls growing up and being like in the locker room? Anyway, it's all ruined, but was that the end of the synopsis?
We all learned a little something today.
Yana can't read. It's a good thing she's in a book club podcast.
Here's the thing, though. I can read. I just can't remember.
Sorry. She can read. She's very smart.
Read. I'm very, very bright.
Young woman.
But alive.
Without the mud. Well, I guess they don't all die, right, Pamela?
You know, I want to give a special shout out to James. Because
he's trying to face the misogyny in his heart, he said.
Yeah, I also want to give a special shout out to Bill. Because James and Bill are true friends who have gone out of their way to email us, new podcasters, and we know they're listening. So I just want to say, I love you. And I love you.
And I love you. Was that the end of the summary?
I think so.
Okay, good.
Do you remember something else? I don't have reading comprehension skills.
No, I just took some quotes along the way, as I always do. But,
I took a couple, but I was kind of honestly bored by these chapters.
I was really frustrated with these pages because I feel like, remember the 50 pages before, I was like flying through and I was so excited. Remember my food rating was like a hamburger and French fries and a beer.
I don't remember that.
You know, we're literally 50 pages from the end, and I thought that we would just be picking up momentum, and we just kind of stalled again. We still don't know where Ruth is. We just know that...
I mean, it sounds like nobody knows where the fuck Ruth is.
It's fine. I'm a little frustrated, but, we're almost there, so why get frustrated when you can find a new book, right, listener?
And if you have some recommendations, you could email us at mybfbookclub@gmail.com.
Look at Yana remembering our email
Every once in a while I remember something that's a little short bit, so it's easier for me.
You know what? Maybe each week we should fold in trivia for Yana and see what she remembers.
I don't appreciate
Send us your trivia questions and I'll read them live to Yana and see what she remembers.
Oh my god, that would actually be really fun. Oh my god, yes, please do that. James, Bill, you listening?
Okay, getting into our discussion topics. Yana, note taker, did you have any discussion topics?
I wrote down 4 notes, Claire.
Okay, do you want to...
Well, the first thing I wanted to discuss was something I was really pissed off about.
Oh, okay, I like this.
And it was during the deposition, I was super pissed that the defendant got to ask Pamela for her address.
Yeah, he was just... Because he's allowed to do that, right?
Well, I mean, it's just bullshit that he is. I don't know that there's a lot of discussion here. I just wanted to make sure everyone knew I was super pissed off about it. It really lit a fire under me. But I just think that it's a really messed up system we have.
It was a misuse of power.
Yeah, I mean, you have this guy who's not yet sentenced, right? So he could possibly walk free.
Right.
And now he knows her
lives.
address.
Yeah.
And it's like her biggest threat. That is some bullshit, Claire.
Yeah. He also, in the first part, he makes her tell in graphic
Step by
detail.
step.
Yeah. What happened at the sorority attack. Because
disgusting.
he could, right? Again, a misuse of power. Everyone gets there where we're like, where is he going with this? He's just making her retell it because he's just morbid, really.
Yeah, but it's not even that for me. I mean, some of that, for
He
sure.
made her talk about the hairspray bottle with Denise.
Right, but I think what stuck out to me is that he's like getting his jollies from this.
Well,
right?
yeah.
Like, so it's not just the power trip, it's the like psychopath in him that's like, I want to relive this because it like brings me so much freaking
true
joy.
psychopath behavior.
Yes. So he's asking these questions. He's making her repeat the stuff, not because there's clarity that is needed for this trial.
There's no reason for it.
No, it's because he just gets off on it.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
When I was watching the defendant tapes, he did that in court. BT dubs, for those of you who don't want to watch it. Yeah.
That's so freaking nasty. And, you know, they're like in the situation where like Pamela and the defendant, they know.
Oh, yeah. In the defendant tapes, this bitch is so smug. I know this like isn't quite about the book, but I'm sorry, I've talked about it a little bit. When he escaped and they caught him twice, he's always smiling at the camera. He's always like schmoozing and talking to them. And I was just like, I would be so embarrassed, especially if I was innocent. I would be like mortified. And he was just always smiling and trying to talk to everybody. I hate him. And then I did get further confused. We've talked about this quite a few times, but how Bright Young Woman is based on the true events,
correct,
right? But again, I just am like, why did we steer so far from the truth of it? Because I could see there was a lot of moments where he questions someone and makes them relive something. Or there's this moment with this judge where the judge seems to like think highly of him for whatever reason. But I was like trying to latch on to names of victims and things like that. And it was all kind of different. And I was just like, why?
These folks just become celebrity.
What does?
These people just become celebrities.
Who are these people? The defendant? Oh.
Why? What were you saying?
Oh, I thought you were saying something else.
As a third grade language?
I thought you were insinuating that Jessica Knoll was latching on to his case to gain fame for herself.
No.
I was like, that's a bold move, Yana.
J.K. Rowling.
Oh, the other thing I wanted to say after I'd watched the defendant tapes, there was this part at the end. I don't know if I just blocked this out, but I won't block it out ever again. Where the
Don't
end.
ever do it again, okay?
Well, I was so disturbed by it. The very end, the day he's going to be executed.
Bye?
And up on the hill overlooking the prison in Florida, there's like a big party. And it's mostly like college kids, right? Like Florida State University is kind of like taking revenge on him for, what they did to his school.
Is theirs.
Plus everyone else, right? So there's this big party happening and it's a lot of college kids. And then they have all these signs that say, burn Bundy, burn.
Who?
I'm sorry, I had
Burn
to say
defendant,
it.
burn.
And there's like illustrations and it's like this huge party and people were super drunk and they were celebrating. I mean, I'm also like, 50-50 on the death penalty. So I think that's what also made me feel a little weird about it.
I'm anti.
But the thing that made me pause and feel gross was how we as humans, we monetized that moment. So people were selling shirts with the illustration that said burn Bundy burn. People had little pins with an electric chair. People found ways to gain money from this moment. And I think that's what made me just feel really icky about all of it.
No,
like, why did we have to do that as a society?
No, I agree. It's disgusting, but also free Luigi.
And there was a moment where there was this dad who bought 5 shirts and he was like, oh, gonna bring these home to my little girls. And I was like, that's so weird. You're gonna be like, hey, kiddos, got you these Burn Bundy burn shirts. Like, what? Like, are you gonna wear that? That's weird. Obviously, everything he did is just absolutely awful and grotesque. And we just made it worse at the end there. I don't know.
It becomes like a celebrity thing, right? Like,
I love feeling very disturbed by like us as a people. Then I watched John Wayne Gacy and I felt worse. And then there was Jeffrey Dahmer, but I was like, I'm not going to watch that right now.
Oh, that sounds like a fun watch.
You just go right after the other,
Yeah, no, it's...
Okay, what was your next discussion point, Yana? Sweet pie? Sweet potato pie.
I don't like how you bring that up as if you know but I'm struggling.
You said you had 3.
I had 3 more. I had 4 total.
Oh, that's what I meant to say.
There was another quote that stuck out to me.
Oh, a quote, eh? Did you write it? Oh,
Yeah.
let's hear it.
Yeah, bitch.
Listeners waiting.
I think James and Bill could wait a little longer.
And my mom. Don't forget about her.
Oh, sorry, Mom. The quote that stuck out to me was, victims are always drawn to those men who remind them of their abusers.
I wrote that too. Proud of you.
I felt a little weird writing it down, honestly, because I don't know really how to talk about it because I've never been abused.
But I also was going into defendant fangirls and how Tina's saying that there's some sort of, experience that these women have gone through. And that's kind of the psychology that makes up the fangirl of these serial killers.
Which is why I felt like I couldn't really dive that deep into it because I don't have anything like that in my history. But
it is curious, though, you hear about all these serial killers who end up, getting married and, in jail. Their whole ass story is in the world. They killed all these people.
Didn't the defendant get married?
Yeah. They also conceived a child while he was in jail. Well, and then the point is that, the media sensationalizes and is like, oh, these women, these fangirl women, gross, gross, gross. But nobody ever takes time to think about the psychology of these women and what's happened to them that kind of led to this path.
Let's bring up a new celebrity crush.
God.
A new fan favorite for some folks, Luigi Mangione.
I did think we should talk about Luigi in this.
I think we should too, because I think it's kind of similar. I mean, he killed way less people, but I do sometimes
profile.
Sure, but V sexy.
Oh.
But I do think it's interesting because even someone like myself, I feel like probably wouldn't really have thought that much about Luigi. I would have been like, oh, it's an attractive man, but forget it. But I think because...
No, you wouldn't have. No, you wouldn't have.
Shh, it's professional.
The whole internet...
But that's what I'm saying is I feel like because the internet blew up and was like, this is a hot man who killed this person. I'm like, you know what? That is a hot man who killed this person. But, it's like mob mentality. You have all these people who are like, look at this sexy, sexy guy. And I'm like, you know what? I will. But before that, I probably would have been like, this is unfortunate for this kid. He's so attractive, but he did a bad thing. And now I'm like, yeah, he did.
So it's they're very different though, right? But I get it. They both have
they're bad boys.
They both have quote unquote fangirls, right?
Luigi's
got a ton of support.
He's
letters,
fangirling hard.
Money. Honestly, even beyond the fangirls, I think a lot of society who has experienced issues with insurance companies, they are like, hey, sorry, not sorry. I think that's what makes them really different, though, is you can subjectively look at the defendant and his crimes, his multiple crimes, and be like, that's bad. That's broken soul. That's evil incarnate.
Bad boy.
Luigi's is more mercenary.
Is he Robin?
He's he's... I'm sorry, I think I meant a vigilante.
Oh, a vigilante.
Like Batman. It's he's doing the work of the people.
Is Robin the right person to say?
But it's very contentious.
Was it Robin?
What do you mean, Robin? Are you talking about Batman and Robin?
No.
Oh, well, I'm lost then.
Wait, who was the one that stole from the rich?
Oh, you're thinking of... Why is this hard?
Right?
Robin Hood.
Robin Hood.
You were almost there. You got Robin.
So close. So it's like a Robin Hood situation. He's killing CEOs.
The work of he's for the people, right?
Finally, someone is.
I think we could go on a total tangent about Luigi, and we
could
probably
posters all over our rooms.
But I always ask people this because this is the last thing I'll say about Luigi, and then we can move on. Unless you would like to have a final comment on Luigi.
Just want him to write to us at mypfbookclub@gmail.com, Luigi.
We live in this world where people really like superheroes, right? The Marvel universe blew the fuck up. And nobody ever talks about how really the core of a lot of these stories is that they kill people. They kill the bad guy, right? There's comic books where Batman has a gun and he kills people. There's also comics where Batman doesn't kill anybody. But it's like we have no problem with the superheroes taking out the quote-unquote bad guys. But then when we apply it to real life, it's not acceptable.
So are you saying Luigi is a superhero?
He's a superhero.
Wow.
Taking out the mega corporation like LexCorp.
Okay, Warner Brothers, contact us.
Okay, nerd. What's up?
What's up? Okay.
What's your
My third thing is another quote. Nobody liked a complainer, and we wanted so much for people to think well of us. Did you have that too?
I noted it, but I ended up not writing it down. But I think it just
felt so woman.
It just continues into that theme, right? And how the girls just want to be appeasing and be heard and just do things that women do.
But you know what, ladies listening,
we hear you.
We hear you, and it's okay to complain.
Yeah.
If you don't like something, say so.
That's what Tina teaches us.
And we love Tina.
I love Tina.
If you have a problem, you make it known. You don't have to do things just because other people want you to.
Do you have an example in your head? Okay, you looked like you did. But you did say earlier that the judge was giving Pamela her time, but was kind of like being lenient with the defendant. And sorry, I hate to bring it up again, but in the defendant tapes at the very end, what bothered me, he's found guilty, and then the judge says, hey, young man, like you're a bright young man, and we would have loved to have you in the court here as a lawyer, but you know, you had potential and you just took the wrong path. And I guess that just bothered me because like he almost had a seat at the table, but he didn't finish law school. And I don't know. It's like it almost
also gives kind of that feeling of like, had the jury just picked a different verdict.
Yeah,
you deserved more.
Also,
sweet little boy.
His actions were so insane during that. It's just kind of validated that maybe he, even in his non-educated version, was a quote-unquote good lawyer when he was just very inappropriate. He misused his power. He made people relive the grotesque killings.
Killed women nonstop.
Right, asked her for her address just because he could. And I don't know, it felt like the judge was like, oh, like he still held him up high somehow at the end of it. I didn't like it.
White man. I don't like it either.
Didn't like it.
But I don't like much, Claire.
I know.
This is definitely at the top there. I have one last quote.
Okay, let's go.
Quote, this was the man characterized by the press as a deadly Casanova. The
dramatization there.
The likes of which women had never before encountered. And he was flustered by the mere presence of someone of the opposite sex. Did you have that?
I don't think I did, actually. I had a different quote about him being sensationalized.
Any thoughts about that one?
Oh, I want to hear what you think first.
Well, I just feel like, you have a nation that's just obsessed with this man because he's attractive and he's this smart lawyer and blah, 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 blah. But you really just have this guy. He's just this awkward dude.
Well, he was just kind of like a little bit of a nerd turd growing up. But then he kind of grew into this very smug bitch.
What was the quote you had?
Oh, I like this quote from Pamela. She says, he once jammed his jail cell keyhole with toilet paper so the guards couldn't get in when they arrived to escort him to the arraignment. For this, he was called cunning and clever, though I had a dog who also tore up toilet paper when he didn't get enough attention. I like how she just quickly belittles him. Yeah. That was true, by the way.
She did that a lot with the deposition, too.
But I mean, I feel like there were some good quotes, but a lot of the stuff was just a lot of themes that we've already heard and discussed a million times in here, right?
We're ready for this book to be over, I think.
Yeah, I think so, too.
One more episode, y'all.
Wait, was that your last thing?
Yeah.
Okay, I had two things to add on. So I think it's interesting to talk about the defendant's mom. Pamela, she has this thought when he's questioning her, and she's getting really agitated because he's making her relive the grotesque crime at the sorority. And she says, in her mind, when you fry, I willed my pleasant features to express. Your mother will have to grieve in societal exile.
Honestly, that's something I think about a lot when bad things happen.
What do you mean?
Well, I think when there's school shootings or just really traumatic events where these people are really bad people and they do really bad things and they hurt a lot of people, innocent people. But I do think about that part of their parents, their loved ones grieve alone because the rest of the community is anti that person. And it should be that way because that person did a terrible thing.
Though? Societal exile? Like, is that fair that the parents are punished for what the child has done?
No. Well, I guess there's differences. When I think about school shootings, let's say.
That one's a little bit more tricky. Well, yeah, I don't know.
Right?
Okay, go on.
Normalized
Pop
it,
on, girl.
Thank you.
No.
Pop on.
It's usually pop off, but I felt like pop on was more suitable.
No, I am popping on today. Maybe another day I'll pop off, but today is a pop on day.
That pound you're hearing is Yana's finger on the table with conviction.
I think there's differences, right? There's those people who do terrible things fully on their own, and then there's the people who like get their dad's gun and do it.
Isn't that still on your own? Oh, because it was the dad's gun and maybe he should have like had it in a safe or some shit?
Yeah, I do feel like parents should be punished for those. But
like, let's say the dad had the gun in a safe, it's padlocked, but somehow the kid finds the code. Is that really the parent's fault?
Honestly, I think it still depends.
I wonder where the line is between like the parents deserving the societal exile that Pamela's talking about and when it's like, no, those are the actions of the person. Because I fully believe that you reach a point in adulthood where you are fully responsible for who you are. Sure, maybe you had the terrible upbringing, right? We all have terrible things that have happened to us in our lives.
We've all had terrible upbringings.
Yes. Some of us
love you, Mom.
Some people have had some truly awful things, right? Where they have like sexual assault when they're little and things like that. And somehow they don't grow up to be serial killers, right? And so it's like at some point you are old enough, your brain is developed, and you are like, this happened to me, this sucks, this is shaping me, and I don't want it to shape me. I'm going to take responsibility for my character. I'm going to own it. I'm going to do what I need to do, right? Go to therapy. I don't know what you need to do. And you're going to transform yourself. Or you can just succumb to yourself as the defendant did and just do it. And it's like, is that really the parents' fault?
I don't disagree with that. I think that societal exile doesn't necessarily mean everyone.
I guess really comes down to is like, how are the families impacted by these really grotesque crimes?
I mean, I also think it does kind of depend on the age.
Right, because they haven't reached that stage like I was just talking about where you're old enough to know better and you've matured, your brain has grown, and you need to own your path now. Okay, last discussion point that I had. Where do you think Ruth's body is? I think she's most definitely a victim of the defendant.
Oh, 100%.
Remember he escaped and he goes to the mountains. The Cascade Mountains?
Cascades are a thing. It's a mountain range.
Okay.
Yes.
If I remember correctly from the real life events, he would leave bodies up there. I don't mean to be morbid, but where my brain is with this is I think Ruth is in the Cascade Mountains.
Well, listener, I guess you'll have to wait and see until the next episode where we finish the book.
Thank God.
But also love you, Jessica Knoll.
Listener, are you ready to move on? Because I think we are. I think we're all ready for a lighter read,
I love a dark read.
I mean, I like a dark read, but it's the summer, and it's time for an easy, breezy beach read.
Beautiful cover, girl.
And, we went to Barnes & Noble.
Sure did.
Shout out, Daniela.
We don't shop at Amazon anymore.
And we talked to a bunch of the wonderful staff there about what books they feel are the best next hot reads for this summer. So we've got a few options that we're looking through. But hey, if you have any recommendations, send them to the Gmail or the Insta or the TikTok.
mybfbookclub@gmail.com.
But it's definitely going to be a lot more fun and lighthearted than this. We're sorry we started with this, and we're sorry we started with a controversial book. It's obviously a New York Times bestseller, and it's great in its own ways, but I think this is just not the tone we're wanting for the summer right now. So, Yana, what was your food rating for these last 50 pages? This is hard. I know, I don't
What was my food rating last?
You said, you went into this
lasagna?
You went into this weird chef mode all of a sudden, and then you're like crepes because you can't quite master them.
That's so funny.
And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? This isn't about cooking, but I knew in your heart that you cook a lot, so that's where your brain went. But you said savory crepes that were not well mastered, essentially. It's still funny saying it. We don't want to know what you would make. We just want to know what your snack is, please. Or it doesn't need to be a snack. It could be a whole ass food.
You know those fruit roll-ups that had the tattoos?
Oh, yeah.
That
you put it on the tongue.
Yeah, but because I feel like it wanted to stay here,
But it dissolved.
Claire, I'm wondering what your food rating
I'm
is this
shocked
week.
that you asked me.
I'm shocked I also
I
asked
can't believe
you.
you remembered.
And listener, that's it for tonight. Let's touch back next week.
Sure. I feel like when it's midnight and you're at a bar,
Oh, I'm never.
but you are, and you're kind of just ready to go home, but your friends are like, come on, like, you just want to keep trying to have fun, so they bring you a shot of not great tequila, and then you just knock it down because you're like, fuck it, you know?
I hate those kind of friends.
That's how I felt about these last 50 pages. I just want to knock it down. It's not the best tequila, but I got a lime, so it's okay. I got some salt, so fine. I'm so ready to finish the next 50 pages and move on to the next book.
So just to clarify,
I'm really enjoying this book.
you want to open your throat for this.
You're in that place where you need to knock it down to stay, or you're not going to make it.
Bye.
Yana, what's your sexy side piece read material? Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for this moment. Did you finally finish Broken Country for us?
I actually did finish
Holy
Broken Country.
shit, everyone. Yana finally finished Broken Country.
You know what, Claire? I don't like your attitude.
We're all really proud of you.
I really don't like your tone.
Sorry.
Claire?
Yes,
Good night,
Christy.
everyone. What is your sexy side piece?
Okay, I posted about this. I need you to pay attention to me. I finished House of Sky and Breath, and I was shocked by the end. I literally posted about it at like midnight because I couldn't comprehend the connection to the ACOTAR series, and my brain broke, and everyone just knew it, and I was the only one who didn't know, and I felt alone. And now I'm on House of Flame and Shadow, and I'm very excited about this. Listener, tell us your food rating and your sexy side piece book. We will be finishing the book, alas. Just pick up on 347, starting with Pamela, and just into the end.
Yeah, take it to the end.
We're all going to finish Bright Young Women and hopefully figure out where Ruth's body is. So, like we said last time, we're still newbies to the podcast world. We know we have a lot to learn and grow and do. So one thing that could really help us a lot is if you share the podcast, and you could follow us on your favorite podcast streaming platform and give us a rating. Punch the 5-star like it's Brian's face or Shirley's face or Alan's face.
And maybe you'll get a shout out on either our Instagram or during one of our recordings.
Oh, wow.
It's a gift that just keeps on giving.
So with that, friends, please support us in any way that you can. We're trying to grow, and we really want to have a big community of readers, and we wanted to have shared conversation with all of you and laughter along the way.
Yeah,
so
groceries are really expensive.
So with that, remember, friends,
keep on reading.